Occurred the 11th of November 2001, 2300 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, light duration, 4 hours. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. There was an aura or haze around the object. The object changed color. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object. At about 11 in the evening sometime in the second week of November 2001, I'm not entirely sure of the date, though I think it was the 11th. My roommate directed my attention out our dorm window to a strange light in the sky northwest of the U Bloomington campus. It was admittedly rather hazy that night, though what kind of conventional aircraft appears as a bright light periodically highlighted by flashes of red and blue and stays in one place for exceptional periods of time. My roommate gathered 3 of his friends to watch the show. Helicopters, we think, they didn't make any sound, had begun to show up at about 10 past 11 and circle around the light. Wanting to be a bit more indulged, I went down to the street, East 3rd, and ventured west to Jordan Avenue to have a closer look. I'd at first thought the light was much farther northwest, but apparently it was less than a mile from our dorm and thus slightly north of the campus, directly up Jordan Avenue. As soon as I made the intersection and this observation, it arced up to the west very quickly from a dead stop. I lost sight of it for the trees, so I kept going west along 3rd Street and made a stop on top of the Ballantyne Hall parking garage. I looked around and didn't see anything, so I headed back. As I approached Jordan Avenue heading east, I saw it again, motionless over a residential area to the southeast, seemingly about the same distance it was from me before. The helicopters were gone at this time. I didn't bother going after it. The cops were prone to patrol the area for partygoers at that time of night and it was late. I thus sat out in front of my dorm and watched it do practically nothing for the next half hour or so and went back up to my room, as there wasn't much left for intrigue. I did some work until about 3 a.m. and went out for a coffee and was a little surprised to see that the object was still in the same place, still doing practically nothing. It was in the exact same place for the duration of the same time period, 2 days later as well.
Occurred November 19, 2002, 1845 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, light duration, 5 minutes. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. The object left a trail. The object emitted beams. UFO observed south of Bloomington, Indiana. It moved horizontally. It was an extremely clear dark sky with few clouds. It was also extremely quiet out with no extraneous sounds observed. I saw an object that seemed to have 3 lights on it and at first thought it was an airplane inbound to Bloomington Airport. I noticed a beam of light extending from the front of the craft which I assumed was landing lights. The beam extended such a distance that I called my partner outside to observe the light trail. The object did not appear to be moving, so I assumed it was heading towards me. After a few minutes, the object moved roughly 10 degrees horizontally to the west, then a few degrees back to east, and then again a few degrees to the west. At this point the craft came again to a standstill. It then began to drop slowly towards the ground and was occluded by a line of trees. This is the last I saw of the craft. As a last note, I noticed strange cloud formations that seemed to lead to the original location of the object. While this could have been coincidence, the clouds looked like an entry trail.
Occurred the 10th of November 2003, 2030 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, disk duration, 3 minutes. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. There was an aura or haze around the object. Saucer-shaped craft with kaleidoscope lights. I am a 53-year-old mother of 4. I have always considered myself to be a sensible person and faith-believing. What I saw on that cold evening in the sky left me puzzled. This object was at my best guesstimation 70 to 80 feet across with lights on the bottom of this disc. The lights were moving from the outer edge toward the center in the shapes of rectangles. It appeared to have louvers toward the center. When the light reached the center, it would radiate back out toward the edge. It appeared as if you were looking in a kaleidoscope. The lights were a brilliant white. I watched this for 3 minutes as it moved from northeast direction to a southwest direction. I went to the house to get my husband. When we came out, it was gone.
Occurred, the 12th of December 2003, 23:05 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, other duration, 5 seconds. It made a zip motion and disappeared before the horizon. I was walking to my house with my girlfriend, and I was looking at the sky. Then a forest green ball of light that made it zip in a downward motion. It lasted for several seconds and then disappeared. Note, it did not disappear at the horizon mark but in the sky.
Occurred, February 15, 2004, 22:50 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, triangle duration, 15 seconds. A dark triangle moving through the sky.
I was outside my friend's apartment in the city, looking up at the sky. The star I was looking at suddenly disappeared, then reappeared.
Catching my attention, I then noticed that there was a large triangular object moving westward through the sky without any lights or sound. It moved slowly and I could see its outline because blocked out the background behind it, and it also reflected a small amount of light from the city below. Thinking that my eyes were playing tricks on my glasses had a glare. I removed my glasses and was still able to see the object and the small amount of light reflected from it.
I watched it until it became hard to differentiate from the night sky.
At that time, I ran inside to get my friend.
Occurred, November 25, 2005, 6:15 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, cone duration, 3 hours. Characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object. On Friday, November 24, 05, my son and I were duck hunting on Lake Monroe. We launched our boat at Paintown Recreation Area. About 6:15 a.m., we seen some bright lights of the east shore of Moores Creek. We thought it was a boat duck hunting and dismissed it as that. At about 7:15 to 7:30, my son said, "Look, there's a balloon." I looked over at it and it was standing still. There was a 15 to 20 mile an hour northwest wind and it was standing still, no noise. There was no movement, so I know there was no line attached to it, and it was cone-shaped, not like a balloon, at about 200 yards I would estimate. It was about 60 foot tall by 20 feet wide and about 150 feet off the ground. It sat there about 20 minutes and just moved slowly off to the east until it was out of sight about 9:30. It didn't float like a balloon, it moved as if it was guided or controlled to the east. It did not drift as a balloon, for it would have went southeast with the way the wind was blowing.
Occurred, the 2nd of February 2006, 1 o'clock location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, changing duration, UFO characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object, changed shapes and colors. Big object that changed shapes and gave off beautiful colors.
Occurred, the 8th of September 2006, 4:30 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, circle duration, only a few seconds. It was characteristics. White falling circle in the sky in Bloomington, Indiana. I was with a friend in her van, and we were looking into the woods behind my house. We looked up and there was a freaky white circle, light falling in the sky. It was way too close to be a shooting star. It was there and then it vanished behind an apartment building. The person I was with said that it was a UFO, but just to be on the safe side we both made a wish and put our hands in our pockets, just in case it was a shooting star. We tried to call a hotline 1 hour after it happened, but it was out of service. So I went online and found you. We are both college-aged kids just up late visiting my boyfriend at work. Nothing special about tonight. All I know is that it was really creepy, and I just want to know if anyone else saw whatever it was. Bloomington, Indiana is the mecca for all freaky migration. A lot of strange things go on here.
Occurred, August 16, 2006, 3:45 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, light duration, 5 minutes. Characteristics. There were lights on the object, light moving from east to west above Lake Lemon near Bloomington. Light was seen moving from east to west about 2/3 above the southern horizon. At first we thought it might be a satellite, but then it started changing speed and direction. It seemed to randomly wobble back and forth, and slow down and speed up. Whatever it was pretty high up. No shape could be seen, just the light, which was as bright as some of the brightest stars. As it approached the western horizon, the light stopped and stayed in one place while it slowly faded away.
Occurred, the 6th of May 2007, 22:45 location, Bloomington, Indiana. Shape, unknown duration. 10 seconds. I am visiting my family on their farm, which is on the north side of Bloomington, Indiana, near Oliver Winery, and a mile west of State Road 37. I went outside to get something from the car and a large silver object streaked across the sky. It was going from the east to the west and was very low. It went so fast that I could not see the shape. It was large, flying low, maybe 500 feet up or so, and traveled very fast. It did not emit beams of light, but the object was bright. The sky was clear and I saw two planes flying very high, both headed generally north as I looked to see if I would see anything else. I have been a sky watcher for years and I have never seen anything like this.